So, I am a recovering people pleaser. And I define that as someone who puts the needs, wants, and desires of another person above their own. What that looks like in practice, just to bring it to life, would be, let's say I meet somebody out in the wild, at my walks or at an event, and they're like, oh my gosh, let's exchange contacts. I would love to hang out with you. And let's say this is me in the past. Let's say I didn't quite feel the same way. Like, I loved that person's company and I loved the moment and it was great for what it was, but I didn't quite feel a desire to take it any further. A past version of me, a people-pleasing version of me, would say, oh, okay, and give my number, which was the first self-betrayal because I did not want to give my number. But I give my number, and then, we'd exchange a text, and then let's say like the next day, that person were to text me and say, hey, like, when can you hang out, right? This is betrayal number 2 on my part, because let's trace it back. I didn't even want to give my number. So now I've given a number, the person's asking to hang out. I basically set the frame that I wanted this. This is entirely my fault because I was people pleasing, because I was putting the desires of the other person above my own, right? This is why this entire situation happened. And so what do I do when the person reaches out wanting to set up a plan? I'm not proud of this. I'm just trying to bring to light what this was like for me. Most of the time, I would ghost. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to admit it. I'm really not proud of that. But most of the time, I would either come up with an excuse for why I couldn't hang out, or I wouldn't answer. And I'll be honest, I really am not proud of that. Because you know what I realized as I've grown? People pleasing is unkind. Full stop. Because people pleasing is dishonest. What people pleasing requires is for you to be in an interaction with someone and say, I don't want to do this thing, but I am going to do it. And then later on, I am going to hold it against you. I am going to have resentment, this resentment build, because I did this to myself and I know this. And you're just operating in this frame that I set. You asked for my number, I said yes. In your mind, that's a green light. That's oh my gosh, this is mutual, right? But in my mind, because I lied, because I was not honest with myself, it was a red light that I turned green to make you happy in the moment, right? And this is what's funny about people pleasing. It's a delaying factor. It just delays what you actually want to happen, right? And in the process, because you're being dishonest, because you're being unkind, right? When the truth finally comes out in your actions, in your avoidance, then the other person, rightfully so, probably has a bad taste in their mouth for you. And you know what? What I just told you is probably a core reason that a lot of people had a bad taste in their mouth for me. in multiple stages of my life. I mean, I'll just admit it. I'm not proud of my behavior. I'm not proud that I was a people pleaser and that I betrayed myself and that I was not honest and that I was unkind. I'm not proud of that at all. But let me try to bring you into the world of me as a people pleaser, so that if you ever encounter somebody who you feel like you really connect with, and then you exchange contacts and you try to make plans and then they like never follow through with you, and you're like, what the heck is that? And you're just sitting there frustrated and you don't understand why that happened. I'm going to try to just bring this to life, because I am not at all making excuses for this behavior, and I am very, very sorry to anyone I have ever done this to. Like, truly, from the bottom of my heart, I am ashamed of my behavior, and I'm ashamed of my avoidance. It's frankly immature, and it's unkind, and it's dishonest. And I can understand why, if you've ever encountered what I'm talking about, with me or anyone, I can understand why you'd be frustrated, right? Because you're just operating in the frame that these people pleasers set, and you're not understanding why things are happening, because you're being honest, so you're expecting honesty out of the other person, right? Why would the other person be dishonest with you? Let me try to bring you into this world so that, to the best of my ability, maybe you can understand this side of it. In the moment, and this is really deep-seated, I think, for people who are like this, for people who are people pleasers, it always goes back to something in the past, because all of our behavior is just the lizard brain pattern matching to keep us safe, right? That like fight or flight that activates, and you're like, okay, how do I bring myself to safety? I know that sounds crazy or a little ridiculous in the context of somebody asking you to hang out. Like, why would your fight or flight activate, right? Well, if you remember, in one of my past meditation diaries, I actually discovered that there was a moment in high school where I had a friendship with a guy who asked me on a date, and I was honest and said no, that I wasn't interested in him. I was interested in his best friend. And then for the next 4 years of high school, I got horrifically bullied by not only him, but his friend group and most of the guys in my school, and was the subject of really, 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 really hard rumors, and was very sexualized as somebody who was not sexual. And all of this, what I'm telling you, is all of these very painful experiences happened because I was honest and said no. I was like, because I was honest and said no, all of these really painful things happened to me. And I'm only sharing this with you because I really do see that as a root for my future people pleasing. I think that there was an emotional encoding really deep in my subconscious and in my body, where I started to associate any form of like me having to reject someone. And I hesitate to even say reject, because I don't really believe in rejection anymore. I think that like rejection is really just a redirection towards what's in alignment for you and what's meant for you. Highly recommend reframing rejection as redirection, by the way, because if you see like that rejection doesn't exist, like life gets so easy and becomes so fun, because everything is just a stepping stone to where you need to be, and you don't get dead set on anything or anyone. But anyway, that's for another video. But I started to operate from this frame of, when I rejected or turned down or was honest and said, actually, I don't want this, bad things happen. And because I dealt with the consequences of that decision, my honesty, for all 4 years of high school, I became very, it's funny because I was going to say rejection sensitive, but it's actually the opposite. Like, I was sensitive to rejecting. I became very sensitive. I wanted to avoid rejecting anyone at all costs because I had experienced so much pain from that one moment of me rejecting somebody or turning someone down or not giving someone what they wanted. So what that told my lizard brain was, get to safety by giving the person what they want in the moment and then running away. That's where the fight or flight, the flight, baby. It was kicking in. The airplane, the wings, going. Okay, I was out of there. And I'm not making excuses for myself. That is not right. It is not right. But I think that was my pattern. My pattern was, okay, someone wants something from me. I know what I want. We all know. Especially, people pleasers out there. They know when they're betraying themselves. They know when their gut, just like anybody, just like non-people pleasers, when you don't want something and it comes your way and then you do it, even though you don't want to, everybody knows they don't want to be doing those things. It's just whether or not, it's a question of whether or not you listen to it. Do you listen to your gut? Do you listen to your yes or no? Does your yes mean yes and your no means no? And I have a lot of empathy for my past people-pleasing self, who, by the way, was in existence until very recently. I mean, until 2023, I was acting like this. And anytime I find myself falling into that pattern, I understand it so well now, and I try my very, very, very hardest to correct it. Because there is nothing, this is what I've learned, nothing more powerful to both parties than just being honest and standing so firmly in your words. Is people pleasing makes you untrustworthy. When you are people pleasing, your words don't match your actions, and you confuse a lot of people for no reason. When in reality, because like this is the craziest part of it. So I said at the top that people pleasing really just delays the inevitable, right? If you say yes when you mean no, eventually you are going to have to say the truth, because what you're going to be forced to say the truth. What are you going to, like, pretend to be this person's friend, or you're going to keep going on dates with this person you're not interested in because you just didn't want to make them upset? The truth is going to come out, right? So to really understand, like, the pros and cons of people pleasing, the pro of people pleasing is that you make the initial moment more comfortable for you and feel more safe for you, right? But then you create, oh my gosh, you create such mental and emotional turmoil from that initial lie, and I'll call it that because it's true, from that initial people-pleasing moment, that initial lie where your word, you did not mean that word, when you said yes when you meant no, from that moment onward until the actual truth comes out. Now, there could be a lot of time between the fake yes or fake no and the actual yes or the actual no. This, in some cases, this timeline has been months for me. And let me just tell you, people pleasing creates the most extreme anxiety for the people pleaser. From the fake yes, from the, fake yes to the actual no. Ooh, what's in between that, baby, is pain and suffering. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad for me because, like I said, people pleasers do this to themselves. But this is how it'll end up playing out. Oh my gosh. I think about this sometimes and I just cringe because it is so self-imposed. This is self-imposed pain right here. So let's say, I'll give you an example. I walk by myself a lot in the city of Austin, and it's my favorite thing to do. It gives me so much joy and soul nourishing warmth, and ooh, I love it. And I stop on the bridge like every day, and I spread my arms out like the Titanic, and I like to feel the wind, and I like to say things to myself like little affirmations and like, I am brave, I am strong, success flows to me easily and effortlessly, I call all of my power back to me lovingly and peacefully. I'll just say these little phrases to myself in whispers, and these moments on the bridge are just me time. You know, they nourish me and they nurture me. And a lot of the time, because I am without headphones and very present with the world and engage with my surroundings, and also looking a little odd because I like to stand on this elevated pillar and spread my arms like the Titanic. And basically what I'm saying is I stand out. I also have like 4 feet of blonde hair. So I stand out. And guys will approach me. And there's been a full gamut of things that guys have done. Everything from trying to guess my ethnicity, which is always fun. I'm Polish, by the way. Or, hey, can I read your palm and tell you messages? I actually like that one because I'm into little woo-woo stuff like that. Or they'll come up and just like try to crack a joke. Like one guy, this one was a wild interaction. But one guy was like, it's not every day I see a woman who's taller than me. And then he started his little thing. But a lot of the time, it's actually like a simple line, which is actually a line I enjoy. You know, not to put you on game here accidentally, but guys will just come up to me and be like, you have amazing energy. I felt compelled to come up to you and say that. And I like that one because thank you. I do have amazing energy. I have worked very hard on cultivating my good energy. It did not come easy, baby. This came after years of watering this garden and tending to my sweet potatoes. I am but a humble potato farmer, okay? I love me a potato. If you know, you know. Potato is one of my main food groups. But anyway, enough about the potatoes. It's not much, but it's honest work for my meme lords out there. If you know, you know. So anyway, guys will come up and they'll usually like remark on my energy, which I enjoy. And there was this one time in particular, I don't know why this one always floats to my mind, probably because one of the other plights of people pleasing is that you have a running list of all of the times that you betrayed yourself, and you feel bad about it. And mostly because you feel bad about lying to the other person. I don't feel bad for myself. Let me get that straight. I do not feel bad for myself. Like, I have full acceptance for the fact that, like, I put myself in this situation. I perpetuated the frame and the dynamic. I just feel bad for the other person. And it's just a lingering voice in the back of your head when you do this. The one that I'm about to tell you, I think this happened in 2022, just to give you a sense of like, this is like a running list of times that I should have been honest and I wasn't. And that's really like from, thankfully, as I worked on the people pleasing and just standing in my words and like making my yes mean yes and my no mean no, because it's actually not that big of a deal and it's way kinder to be honest, right? This has been a huge part of my journey over the last year, but that doesn't mean that these moments don't stay with me. So here's what happened. This guy comes up to me, really nice guy. And I remember in the very moment he came up, just to be honest with you, I'd already betrayed myself because I was listening to some music. I like to listen to healing frequencies when I'm on the bridge and feeling the wind and having this little moment. And when he came up and struck up a conversation with me, in that very moment, I did not want to have a conversation. I'm very open to experiences and talking to people. But in that very moment, I was so locked into what I was doing. And I was like, I think I was visualizing something. And I was so in my body and just loving in that moment and feeling it was so juicy and delicious. And I was so in my own little world. And in that very moment, I honestly should have said, like, hey. And then he would have been like, hey, I think he even said, like, would you mind if we chatted for a little bit? I should have said, actually, like, I'm really enjoying this moment. And like, thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening and enjoy your walk. And I should have turned and continued doing what I was doing. So that was the whole interaction for people pleasers is based on a betrayal of self. But in this interaction, of course, I didn't do that. I took out my headphones and I engaged in this conversation. And we talked. It was actually quite interesting because he was like, you just have such an expansive energy. And he was teaching me a little bit about like palm reading and like what certain life paths mean. And we were talking about Ram Dass and attachment, like what does it mean to let go? What does it mean to, have interactions with people and not make it mean something in your head? And we were having a pretty lovely conversation. It turned out that, he worked at Amazon and, we had big tech in common. So we had some things to talk about. Also talked about like relationship to self and community. And I told him about the walks, and it was by all definitions a lovely conversation that I did not want to be having. That was the key part. This is the key part. In every second of this conversation, I had a voice that was saying, I really want to leave this conversation because I did not want to be having it, right? I was not there, but like I did not know how to honor what I wanted. So I stayed and I ended up talking to him for like 45 minutes. And I remember I'm not proud of this. I made up the fact that I had a meeting. This was like at like 8 p.m., mind you, to get out of this conversation because I did not know how to exit. And every minute that passed, I felt more and more resentment towards this person, this innocent person who is very nice and very fun to talk to, right? Great conversationalist. But because the entire interaction was based on my lie of wanting to be in it, unbeknownst to him, my internal dialogue was, I want to be out of this interaction so badly. Like, this is what my internal dialogue would say. I know way better now. Just want to say that. Like, I can't believe this guy, the audacity of this guy to come up to me, a complete stranger on the bridge when I'm enjoying my evening. He comes up to me and he asks to have a conversation, and then he does not understand that he just took up 45 minutes of my time. Who does that? Who takes up 45 minutes of someone's time? Like, oh my gosh, that is wild. I cannot conceive of like shouldn't he know like the right thing to do would, if you're interested, would be to go up to somebody and be like, hey, sorry to bother you, but here's my number and you can text me if you want, and then make the interaction really short. I think I even tweeted this at one point. I My friend Danny reminded me of this because he's like, you've grown a lot since you tweeted this advice. I was like, guys, I think it was inspired by this interaction. I tweeted something like, guys, let me put you on some game. If you really want to impress a woman and to like increase your chances of her thinking that you're respectful and respect her time, if you're interested, you can go up to her in public and just make a very, very short, like, hey, your energy is amazing. I just wanted to give you my number and you can text me if you'd like. I'd love to take you out sometime, and exit. And I think my whole point in this advice was get in and out and do not take up any more of her time. And I got like backlash from men basically saying like, well, what if you're having a good conversation? You're just saying to like leave the conversation even though she looks receptive and you're having a good time. And then of course, like past people pleasing me was like, yeah, you should leave the conversation because she's probably not enjoying it. There's a good, cause I was like that. That's why I was saying that, right? Because I'm like, yeah, there's a good chance that like she's just in this conversation because she feels unsafe to leave and she doesn't know how to be honest and like get out of it. And a lot of women are like that. I still do think a lot of women are like this because there's a lot of people pleasers out there. I'm not the only one. And I think that there's someone out there who's probably hearing me talk and be like, holy crap, like that is me too. And you just have this profound anxiety around like not being able to say what you actually want to do, right? And then holding it against the other person because they can like magically read your mind. I was expecting this poor man to read my mind and be like, oh my God, like he could tell that I don't want to be in this interaction, right? Because of course he could tell because I'm nodding and I look interested, right? I am putting on an Oscar-worthy performance of enjoying this conversation. How is this man ever going to pick up on the fact that I'm not enjoying myself? He's on the other end of this thinking, I've got a live one. Oh my gosh, she's into me. Jackpot, right? And then meanwhile, my internal monologue is like, get me out of here. I'm so pissed off. I can't believe that this guy's taking up 45 minutes of my time. Like, I can't wait to never talk to this guy. Right? It's really funny when you think about it because why would you ever, this is why people pleasing is so funny. Why would you ever, with somebody that you don't know well, assume that they're lying to you? Because that's what the people pleaser wants you to assume. The people pleaser is expecting that you will read their mind, which, by the way, they make it impossible to do because they're putting on an Oscar-worthy performance, acting interested. They are expecting you, against all odds and against all signals, to read their mind and to know that you're not actually into it. That's impossible. That's an impossible expectation. That's why it's just like I look at my old behavior and I have so much forgiveness and acceptance for my former selves, and I know why I did what I did. But dang, like I'd be pissed at me too. Like I genuinely would be very confused at me. Because like I said in one of my other videos, one of my other meditation diaries, if you ever thought I was fake or two-faced, you were right. There's a lot going on here, right? There's, the emotional face and the logical face, and I was only showing the logical face, but there's also a layer of people pleasing on this unit that was really influencing how I was showing up, and I think it confused a profound number of people. And I don't blame you for thinking I was fake or untrustworthy, because if you ever came up to me and you were like, oh my gosh, let's hang out, and I'm like, yeah, oh my gosh, and then I never answer your text, what the hell? Like, genuinely, I mean, I have ears and eyes and a brain. Like, I can listen to myself and be like, bruh, I suck. Like, so I'm just sharing what I've learned about myself and people pleasing because I really do think it's a hard thing to understand unless you've done it. I really, really, I was going to say the word envy, but I don't like saying envy. I admire people who have gone their entire lives standing on their words. I really admire you if you have no element of people pleasing in you. If you never learn to sacrifice your needs, wants, or desires, and that you are just honest, no matter how many enemies that got you, no matter if you ruffled feathers, no matter if it hurt people's feelings. I really admire you if you are like that, because I think I'm like that now. I'm very kind, but I think I have finally removed all of the people-pleasing filters and all of the different filters that I had on top of myself, like this fissure between the logical face and the emotional face. This series has actually helped me integrate these and show up as my holistic self and not just go heavy on the logic and be really smart and not show you anything else. This series has helped with that. My last year and being around people who stand on their words and mean what they say and have boundaries and actually just don't avoid, hard conversations or hard emotional moments like the plague. Being around people like that has really rubbed off on me. And I'm proud to be sitting here today and not identify as a people pleaser, but I still have my moments. That's why I say I'm recovering. I'm in recovery from people pleasing. And it's a lifelong journey, and I'm not perfect, and I'm gonna regress sometimes, and hey, we're only human. But man, it's important to be honest about these past selves. I really do feel like if you're out there and you resonate with what I'm saying about being a people pleaser and sacrificing what you want in the moment, and if you say yes when you mean no, or vice versa, I really want you to sit with yourself right now in this moment and say, how can you make your yes mean yes? Because I know it's hard in the moment to let somebody down, but it is so much better. Oh my gosh, take it from me. It is so much better to have a small moment of awkwardness right there in the moment than to betray yourself, not say what you mean and not mean what you say, and then live in that reality that you created for gosh knows how long. It could be days, it could be months, it could be years. Oh my gosh, don't do that to yourself. If you relate to what I just said about people pleasing, free yourself, my brothers and sisters. Free yourself. Figuring out how to bust my people pleasing tendencies over the year of 2023 was the best and most liberating thing that I did. If you relate to what I'm saying, please hear me. Make your yes mean yes. Practice in small, low expectation moments. Practice standing on your words. I know in the moment, that uncomfortable feeling, we all just want to make that uncomfortable feeling go away, right? But that uncomfortable feeling, you can either have a little small one in the moment, or it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it balloons in size as time goes on. And when you have to eventually face it, goodness me, oh my gosh, the most emotional and mental turmoil that I was in last year happened because I did that to myself. Because you never can escape it. You can avoid it all you want, but you're just delaying it. You're not avoiding it. The avoidance is temporary. You're eventually going to run into that person again. Even if you ignore their text. This is what the walks taught me, right? Is let me tell you. You want to bust an avoidant tendency? Ooh, host a weekly event, baby. Host a weekly event. You ain't got nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. You are in the same place. In my case, same place, same time every week. Avoidance, we don't know her anymore. I am forced to face. I'm forced to face everything and everyone I'm running from on a weekly basis. In two ways. First, I can't run from my emotions because let's say I have to go host the walk when I'm sad, which doesn't happen often, but there have been times where, like this one time right before the walk on a Friday night, Danny had given me, this is months ago, a piece of feedback that made me very, very, very upset. I was devastated by this piece of feedback and I was crying up until like midnight on Friday. And I still, the next day, got my butt up at 6 a.m. and I went and I hosted my walk and I openly told everyone there that I was not feeling my best and that I was feeling sad. And a past version of me who did not have an event to host would have fallen off the earth for a while. But when you host an event every week, you cannot run from your emotions. That's part one. Or people. You can't isolate. You can't hide from somebody who wants to get a hold of you. And let me just tell you, I got lots of examples of this one. Take your pick. People who, like that example I just told you, who want to have a deeper friendship with you, people who want to take you on a date, people who are interested in business with you, people, it runs the gamut. It could be, take your pick. Any living intention or motive that a human being could have, I've experienced on my walk, and I have experienced people directing those intentions, selling, promoting, dating at me. And let me tell you, it doesn't just stop at one visit to the old walkie. No, they usually come back. So it's not, you can't just, people please and get out of the situation and, oh, now we're safe and now I'll just never answer their text again. Because a lot of the time, you're looking this person in the eyeball, not once, twice, maybe even thrice, maybe even 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, all the way up to 10 times or more. So you want to know how I busted people pleasing? The walk, baby. Hosting a weekly event. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. No ability to people please. No ability. Because you start to learn real fast. There's gotta be a better way. And you know what the better way is? Being honest. Standing on your words. When someone says something to me or says, hey, can I have your number? If my gut says no, I say no. Revolutionary. If someone asks me on a date and I'm not interested, I say I'm not interested. Revolutionary, right? If someone says, oh my gosh, I'd love for you to come do this thing and I don't want to go, I just say that. All of this, it sounds, it's ridiculously simple. But to my people-pleasing self, whoa, I'm dropping insights here. But my whole point in saying this is if you consider yourself a people pleaser, create a routine for yourself that surrounds you with other people that you can practice standing in your truth too. So if you don't want to host an event, which I totally understand, that's a lot of responsibility, join a weekly event of some kind. It could be an intramural sport. It could be a gym class. It could be an exercise class. It could be some kind of community something or other and have it be recurring so that you would be in situations with the same group of people on a regular basis, because that's where you really start to understand the consequences of not being honest and standing on your words. The walks are where I learned that, and then eventually over enough time, when I kept whacking myself with the shovel in the forehead of, oh my gosh, I said yes when I meant no, and now I'm reaping the consequences of this. Months later, I'm reaping them. Here they are, time and time again, Groundhog Day, okay, of me doing the same thing. It took quite a few times. I finally got to the place where I was like, no more. It's honesty hour. 24/7 honesty hour here. So if you've resonated with anything I've shared in this video on people pleasing, that's your homework. Find a regular community that puts you around the same people on a regular basis and get the reps in. Watch yourself avoid and watch what it does. Watch how it hurts you. Watch how it causes you turmoil. And when you feel that urge to, oh, I'm just going to not go, I'm just going to avoid, push through that, go, show up, and then choose differently. Break your pattern. Over enough time, I promise you, you won't be a people pleaser anymore. That's what happened to me. Tried and true, baby. And if you give that a try, let me know how it goes for you. Because like I said, this was the biggest personal gain I had in 2023, was figuring out how to eliminate my people-pleasing tendencies and to stand in my truth in all moments. Okay. Well, I have been talking for a very long time. How does this always happen? But I hope you have the most magical day. I am going to go take a bath. I am very, very happy and blessed to have started recording this early by my standards, but I'm gonna go take a luxurious bath. My mom got me this giant bath bomb bar. It's like the largest bath bomb bar in the world, apparently, which I think is very cool. I might bring it into the next video. It's giant. And you basically just kind of like break off bath bombs from it. Gotta love the innovation there. But I'm gonna go be cozy and take care of myself and have some nurturing moments, and I'm gonna put my vanilla bath salt in there and Epsom salts, and I'm just gonna be living my best cozy warm life, and I wish the same for you. Okay, I love you so much. Thanks for being here, and wow, I'm so grateful for you, and I love you.